All right, John. So, what is it that got you involved in a triathlon? Did you, like many people, see Kona on TV, and is that what got you started with triathlon, or were you involved with triathlon first and then kind of decided to go for it in Kona?
Well, I took a trip to Kona, and I didn't know anything about Hawaii or the Ironman, and I went into a t-shirt shop, and it was just, I was blown back by all of this equipment for Hawaii. And the lady said, she goes, some of the most fit athletes in the world come here, and just, it's amazing what happens to this town. And then literally we got back to the main island, and my girlfriend Katie at the time signed up for a program called Team in Training. And I had done a few triathlons in college, nothing serious at all. And she started training, and so I decided to go out there and train with her, and it was really fun. It really brought back a lot of fun memories from doing some of these sprint triathlons in college. And she was really the catalyst, because I did a couple of races with her, and then I mentioned Canada. I mentioned Ironman Canada, and it was literally 2 months before Canada. This was back in 2005, and she literally signed me up, and I was on my way to Canada. So she was really the catalyst for that, but yeah, it absolutely started just from her being in Team and Training and doing some workouts with her.
Okay, so 2005 was your first Ironman. How many Ironmans then have you done in order to get to Kona?
Gotcha. So 2005, I was just there to finish, and I was thrilled. It was probably the best feeling ever, that first race, just getting to the finish line and not knowing if that was going to happen or not. So that happened, and then I did another one because she was actually watching me. So now she wanted to do one. So the way that we went, we did another one, and that one I got a little bit more competitive at, and so I started to see kind of this allure that well, maybe if I worked hard enough, maybe one of these days I could actually get to Kona. And the third year then, I went all out. I did whatever I could, and I wasn't close, but I was close enough to know that it may be possible.
Right.
And from there, it just went another one, another one, another one, another one, and then finally, it ended up getting to space.
And you did some fairly extensive traveling as well to some of these Ironmans. You didn't just stick to the North American ones. What international races did you do?
Yeah, so we actually sold a chiropractic business, and right before we had our child, and we took the year off, and we went and we did some destinations, but one of the ones we did was China, Ironman China.
Right.
And so yeah, we went, we hauled our bikes all the way to Asia, and we raced an Ironman there. That was one of the best experiences, just kind of being together in that race.
Okay. And so when you did qualify, finally, give me a sense of kind of what went through your mind. I mean, the elation, the joy, the culmination of all those races.
Gotcha. So I guess a couple races before, I really thought it was going to happen, and then the race before this one, I couldn't imagine it not happening. So it didn't happen, neither one of those. So this race that I was just getting into, this last race, the Louisville race, I really didn't think that it was going to happen. I was going out there just to do the best job that I could. I put in a lot of training time, and I just wanted to see what I could do, how well it would go. And so I really didn't know. And I got off the bike, and I felt pretty decent, and then on the second loop of the run, Katie said, "Hey, you're actually in a pretty decent position," and that was good to hear, because I really didn't want to go any faster. so then that third piece, I'd say probably 6 miles in, she said that I was in 8th place, but people were about to catch me, so that really put me in high gear, and then I ended up getting 7th, and really didn't know until the next day, because it's a time trial start. But when I saw it the next day, I was really pretty excited about that.
Right. And so when you get that call and you know that you're going to Kona, does that make all the sacrifices worth it for you? I mean, give me a sense of kind of what you've had to go through sacrifice-wise. Obviously, being a business owner and married and a young son, all of those Saturdays spent away.
Yeah, so absolutely, there's a lot of sacrifices, and the thing that I just kept reminding myself is that people that let their dreams die become pessimists, really, and I just did not want that to happen. Okay. And I felt like at times this dream was sliding away, but really the only way that I think somebody could do this, if they're married, they have a child, is to have really a supportive spouse. And so we kind of made a deal. I never train after work, and so what I do is I get up early and do the training then, and then I have a 2-hour lunch break and do it then too. But you're right, still on Saturdays. So on Saturday is a big training day, and then on Sunday is my day to really watch Dominic. He's the 4-month-old, and so we've worked it out the best we can. But absolutely, there's sacrifices, not just for the person doing it, because ultimately, triathlon, I think, is a very selfish sport.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
And so the other person, it's just luckily I'm married to Katie, who's able to kind of put up with this and has been really supportive of it too.
And having done Ironman as well, she knows what it takes and the sacrifice.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. And she's done 6 Ironmans, so she kind of knows how it works as well.
Right. So when you do go out the door on your Saturday, and do you feel guilty at all for that? And I guess the other part of that, when you're out there, and do you picture yourself in Kona at all? Do you picture yourself kind of crossing the line? Do you try to maybe think of what that's going to be like?
Gotcha. So yeah, on Saturday when I go out, or anytime I work out, yeah, I don't feel guilty at all. That time has been reserved pretty well.
Okay.
So when it's time to train, I just really focus 100% on the training, and then like when I'm in the office, I just don't think about training at all. I just think about the office. So I try to do that. I try to kind of segment everything. Yeah, absolutely. So on the bike ride, I oftentimes think of Kona and riding in Kona, but especially on the run. I like that last 5 miles of a hard run, or being on a treadmill and doing sprint work. And I always imagine myself running with 3 people in my age group, although that never ever happens. It's kind of that image that turn the headphones on and just think of actually racing some people in my age group.
Okay. So do you have any expectations going into this race? Do you have a time goal, or how serious are you going to be for this one?
Gotcha. So with this race, the original plan was to finish Louisville and then just totally take this as kind of a vacation. I did the same thing with Boston, worked hard to qualify for Boston, and then I think I did a 4-hour marathon. Just really was there just for the experience. However, just since I qualified for this, I really want to give this race the respect that it deserves. So I've been actually working really hard on this one.
Right.
And it's not really that important to me how well it goes. Obviously, I want to finish the race, but I'd also like to do it under 10 hours. I think that would be just the best way to do my last Ironman for a while.
Right, and that was going to be my last question then, is so after Kona, do you have any set plans? Are you going to be taking a break? Is it maybe time for Katie to start doing a lot more training, or have you even gotten that far?
We have gotten a little bit into that, and I think she is going to take a break from triathlon 1 more year.
Okay.
She'll probably do some of the sprints, but she might get back to the Ironman again, or we might just take a little time to do the snowshoeing, the 14ers, and that type of workout. Can't imagine being gone from triathlon for too long, so next year I'm sure I'll do some of the shorter races, but no Ironmans are scheduled for next year, so probably half would be the biggest one.
Okay, all right. Well, good luck in your training, and we'll see you on the Big Island.
Thank you very much, AJ.
Thank you. All right, Kelly, so having done 5 Ironmans in Kona, having won your age group and everything, what is it that keeps you going back year after year? What's that drive for you?
Really, it's because Kona is the race. I mean, Kona is a true world championship race. It's the best competition. It's the hardest mentally, emotionally, and physically course that's out there.
Okay. And so many people talk about the spirituality of the island and the gods and the spirits on there. Is that something that you acknowledge and kind of use to your advantage, or do you just kind of focus on the race and leave all that other stuff behind?
I think I'm one of those people that really believes that there is something to that. Being coached by Mark Allen,
right.
Obviously he's very into that part of the island, so it's hard for me to completely ignore that part.
Okay.
I do go out and build a rock pyramid out on the Queen K Highway before the race, so it's something that I can draw energy from on the bike ride.
So that's your ritual, and have you done that from the very first year? Is that something you incorporated later?
It's something I've done every year.
Okay, and so again with the spirituality, is there a certain part of the course or anywhere on the island that is particularly spiritual for you, or that you kind of every year you look forward to being that, anything like that?
I don't think there's any one part of the course. I think it's really just the whole atmosphere of the island itself.
Right.
Moving the race to a different location would completely take away that part of it, and I think would really deter people from feeling the same way.
Okay, so if they did rotate it to a different, the World Championship, a different part of the world, you wouldn't necessarily be so focused on trying to qualify for them. You would still go to. Would you still go to Kona if it weren't the World Championships, or would you go to the World Championship if you had to make that decision?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It would probably depend
on
where they moved it and what what they did for that race.
Okay.
I would probably still prefer to go to Kona,
Right.
Just because that's. I mean, when people think about Ironman, they think about Kona.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
don't think about other places.
Now, everybody, all Ironman athletes, whether it's Kona or some other Ironman, you have to make those sacrifices of early morning swims and weekend stuff. For you, what do you have to sacrifice in terms of, like, say, getting up in the morning and weekends?
Both of those things.
Yeah.
I sacrifice. I get up early in the morning. Obviously, I do my swims before work.
Okay.
So I usually get up about 4:30 in the morning. Get a workout in before work. I work out at lunch when I get the chance at work. The weekends are harder now that I have a baby.
Right.
So I still try to get my long runs and long rides in on the weekend, but I find that I'm leaving earlier to get those done.
Okay.
And not doing everything that I have done in the past. So I've cut back on one of my swim sessions. I don't swim on the weekend anymore.
Okay.
And my easy run and easy bike, I don't do those anymore. It saves me about 2 hours a week, but every little bit counts.
Okay, so this is your first year back at Ironman racing after having your daughter. So those are the main changes that you had to make, and have you had to be a little bit more flexible than you have been in the past?
Yes, I've had to compromise a little bit more.
Right.
So there's times where I've had to cut a workout short, just because that's life happens,
Right.
and there's other
Right.
things to get done.
Yep.
So if I only ride 6.5 hours instead of 7, that's the way it is. But I just try to get as much done as I can when I'm already out of the house anyway. So early in the morning when she's asleep, or when I'm at work, just get it done. And if I don't get it done, then it just doesn't happen, and I have to let it go.
Right. So do you feel now with your daughter, do you feel any different getting out the door on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings and missing that time?
Yes.
How are you dealing with that?
It's hard. I mean, I like to see her in the mornings because she's happy when she wakes up, and that's it's kind of fun to go in and get her out of her crib. But really, the only day I can do that is Sunday when I do my long runs, because that's something I can be a little bit more flexible with. So I miss it during the week, and I miss it on Saturdays, and it's hard to be away from her and to miss things. I've done my best not to miss anything important. I've been there when she started crawling or when she took her first steps.
Okay.
So
you've seen the milestones
yeah,
at least.
I've seen the milestones.
Okay.
And I try to do as much as I can with her when I am home. So
it's all quality.
yeah, when as soon as I get home from work, it's pretty much all me
Right.
taking
So it's like
care of her as
training.
much as I can.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, the same thing, that my husband takes care of her while I'm training, but I try to do as much as I can with her when I'm there.
Okay. So then, with all these different things being thrown at you and having to make these adjustments, have you scaled back your expectations for Kona this year? I mean, having been an age group winner and being highly, highly competitive every single year, is this going into this year? Do you have different expectations, or?
Yes, I definitely have, I think, lowered the bar a little bit. Part of that is training is just different when you don't sleep. I mean, my daughter doesn't sleep, so I don't sleep because that's my time with her is the middle of the night.
Okay.
Not that I really want to be awake in the middle of the night, but so that makes training much more difficult. I've also been fighting an injury this year, so
Okay.
it's just kind of changed things a little bit. I still have goals, and I still would like to perform well, but I don't know that I'm going to go out there and break any records.
Right. Well, so you think maybe this year when you go out there, you build that pyramid out there, you're going to ask for a little bit more help out there, maybe?
Maybe a bigger pyramid this year. I need a little bit more energy.
Right, right. And it's definitely out there. So, all right. Well, thanks for sitting down with us, and we'll see you out there on the Big Island.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you.